Hi everyone, I'm Lori Polina and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is entitled Prepare for Ascension, You Are Taking Your Body. And this is going to be a written transcript that I'll read from that I prepared with a lot of information on health and taking care of the body and our present American diet and how we might want to reconsider how we eat in order to align our whole body with our spirit and our mind to prepare for the changes coming. So I'll read this and I'll come back at the end. Prepare for ascension. You are taking your body. There can come a time at a certain point in our spiritual practice where internal clarity and attunement make it apparent that our bodies need a more refined diet. We feel physically the need for a more conscious approach to what we are ingesting, whether it is with food, drink, smoke, or chemicals. For most Americans, one has to truly consider the benefits or deterrents of what the fare of the standard American diet offers, as the emphasis is more on pleasure than on health. This approach caters to our senses with little emphasis or understanding of what food contributes to the maintenance of healthy body chemistry. Most Westerners are ignorant of the fact that the body is an amazing healing machine that only needs the right fuel to maintain the natural balance of acid to alkaline in our body's blood. This, along with other supportive practices like exercise and rest, keeps us healthy and at peace within. It helps to understand that the universe and our bodies are miraculous and built to last if we consciously cultivate and care for them. However, the Western approach to the care of our bodies is more that of planned obsolescence. The food and beverage industries leave it to us to choose the right fuel amid a wide spectrum of choices. While it is for us to discern, it is challenging to not be misled amongst advertising and marketing practices that are often deceptive. Tobacco, alcohol, sugar, coffee, drugs, chemicals, meat, cheese, dairy, corn, soy, wheat, flavor enhancers, preservatives, pesticides, along with stress, sedentary lifestyle, and shallow breathing, all work to create an overly acid-based environment in the body. While this might be a subtle point, it becomes monumental when we understand that an acid-based or animal-based diet described above, as opposed to an alkaline-based or plant-based diet, creates the breeding ground for many symptomatic illnesses we face on an ever-increasing basis in our world today. Look around you. Who isn't complaining of some form of illness? This rich and satisfying way of eating, unfortunately, does nothing to help us find optimal health, well-being, and peace. It instead keeps us driven by caffeine, sugar, and alcohol to achieve, fit in, and keep up with an ever-increasing demand of our energy. It also makes it hard to avoid the excess that naturally comes with sanctioned get-togethers at bars, coffee shops, and restaurants. We eventually either come to self-care by disciplined spiritual practices, which lead us to clarity and refinement of our physical vessel, or by the insistence of our body in the form of illness asserting itself to get us to change our ways. The point of intolerance to a body out of balance, if arrived at spiritually, is a heightened awareness that our body chemistry isn't running optimally, like a finely tuned machine running on low-octane fuel. This can be understood in terms of the alkaline to acid ratio in our blood. When our diet is too acidic, it results in a lack of sufficient oxygen supply at the cellular level. Illness breeds in an environment lacking oxygen. The billions of cells in our bodies must maintain proper alkalinity in order to supply the blood with the optimal level of oxygen. In order to feed the blood with the proper balance, a primarily plant-based diet consisting of fruits and vegetables, along with smaller amounts of protein, will bring things into balance. When we are consistently eating foods with a high acid content, the body cannot perform its function as a self-healing mechanism. Diet is one of the biggest determinants of your health. What you put in your body every day affects everything: your blood, your body chemistry, your mood, your brain, muscles, tendons, bones, nerves, cells, kidneys, livers, and digestion, hormones, thyroid, etc. Unfortunately, when it comes to diet, most people are on autopilot following a disease-promoting Western diet that is high in acidity and toxic additives and low in alkalinity and nutrients. The ideal ratio of what we ingest each day should be around 80% alkaline and 20 acid-causing foods and drink. The blood carries the highest amount of oxygen at 7.4 pH alkaline. When it is consistently too high in acid or below 7.4 pH alkaline, it allows illness to take hold systemically. A primary plant-based diet, as well as slow, deeper breathing through the nose, helps to keep oxygen levels high in the blood. This, along with other life-sustaining practices such as meditation, exercise, and self-love, can move us towards a balanced body, mind, and emotional state, allowing a sense of peace to pervade an all too often state of hypervigilance and trust to eventually be established. The culprits of our illnesses, mental unrest, and stress is hiding in plain sight. The Western approach to diet diverts our focus away from health and towards pleasure by providing the widest spectrum of choices, often at our expense, by the use of chemicals, additives, and processing. Next to nothing in the Western approach to health promotes the idea of proper pH levels in our blood being of importance in creating good health, or the real cumulative effect of consistently ingesting poisons and chemicals in our food. In fact, diet is considered of little or no consequence to health in the Western allopathic approach. Chemicals, additives, added hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, GMO corn, wheat, and soy, processed foods, sugars, etc., to name just a few, are thought to be harmless by most patients and doctors. Restaurants, health food stores, grocery stores, all supplying us with these forms of food. Buzzwords like natural, flavors, organic, gluten-free, etc., are prominently featured on the labels, while in small print are the culprits which are promoting illness. Most often in the very process that the ingredients go through to enhance the natural flavors or texture. Think of it. Are restaurants serving you meat and dairy products that are antibiotic and hormone-free? Are they choosing vegetables and fruits that are free of pesticides, additives, and chemicals? While this might seem like a subtle distinction, the cumulative effect of this constant barrage in all we ingest day after day is slowly adding up to every form of ailment and illness. A majority of these mysterious inflammatory ailments never seem to be fully cured and get excused away by the common phrase, "It's because we're getting older." The body may wind down in certain ways as it ages, but it is built to function into old age when we take responsibility for how we take care of it. It's like someone who is meticulous with how they take care of their car. When they trade it in, it is working well and fetches a good price. Many studies have concluded that the Western approach to diet and health practices contributes to the development of heart disease, dementia, arthritis, osteoporosis, bladder conditions, kidney stones, diabetes, yeast, fungal growth, cancer, high blood pressure, obesity, hormonal issues, autoimmune disease, acid reflux, knee and hip joint inflammation, to name just a few. The explanation is very simple. Your body evolved to work optimally when provided with the right internal and external environment to function within. The internal environment in your body requires a toxic-free, healthy mix of nutrients and air. And when it doesn't get them consistently over time, things go haywire and the body starts to break down and cannibalize itself for nutrients stored in the bones and blood, and the lack of proper pH levels allows for illness to take hold. What I've come to as a healthy daily regime is a mix of meditation, exercise, and dietary awareness. Proper alkalinity acts in the same way as does the refined vibration produced in meditation, which puts your consciousness back in alignment with the universal consciousness. Also, our pineal gland is what brings us back online with our higher self and inner guidance. In most people, this gland is calcified from ingesting fluoride in the water and food. It can, however, be activated with an alkaline diet and purified water. While we need to connect with our spirit, we also need to care for the body to create a temple of well-being and inner peace to give us a foundation of sanctuary to work within. While the problem of how to turn our health practices around in order to heal our bodies seems overwhelming at first, we can wrap our heads around this challenge by taking a number of small steps leading to larger ones. Things to consider. Most of the illness-causing culprits are hiding under the ingredients in canned and packaged foods, such as preservatives, pesticides, and additives. Avoid any canned or packaged food, as they almost all contain illness-causing ingredients, no matter what they say in bold letters on the cover. Natural flavors, citric acid, sugar, color, etc. seem harmless, but cause many of the known and unknown illnesses that are on the rise. While the cost of organic fresh fruit, nuts, beans, and grains may be costly, it is money better spent on preventing costlier visits to the doctor. Remember avoiding canned and any packaged products, as they are treated and processed, and that will show up under the ingredients section on the back. The phrase natural flavor is a chemical process. Most meat contains the antibiotics that are given to the animals that, when ingested, flood your bloodstream with antibiotics. This results in destroying the good bacteria in our digestive tract, creating poor gut health. This is why we have now been forced to counteract this self-inflicting problem on a daily basis with costly probiotics. Even when we try buying organic meat and dairy, the animals are being fed genetically modified corn. Even grass-fed animals get fed this corn in the winter. Also, consider levels of pollution, radioactivity, and mercury in seafood. Note that smaller fish like anchovies, smelt, and sardines are not saturated like larger fish are with metals and pollution. I'd like to introduce an idea here that can help us take the plunge to empowering ourselves and allowing us to make a transition in our way of thinking about nutrition and energy. This is the idea of fasting. While we are all different and have different levels of health, when considering a fast, it is the concept of fasting I'd like to introduce here. While doing a fast, whether it is a dry, water, juice, fruit, or grain fast, it is important to check whether or not you are healthy enough for what you are attempting to do. Check with your health care practitioner before attempting to restrict your diet. I'm placing this disclaimer here in the event that someone is mistaking this discussion as a medical claim or medical advice. I'm only suggesting we consider the wisdom in these ideas before taking a responsible course of action. When we fast, it allows the body's inherent ability of self-healing to be deployed, not having to expend energy to focus on the task of digesting food and drink. Our bodies begin to release stored toxins, cannibalize compromised cells, and create a state of well-being if allowed to totally rest. If we consider the years of toxins from pollution, chemicals, plastic, etc., through what we ingest, breathe, absorb in our skin, as well as through our emotions and energetic field, it makes sense that detoxification of the body is to our benefit. To my thinking, it is better to fast than to eat when we have such an accumulation of toxins, resulting in physical overwhelm, fatigue, and cloudiness. I found after just 6 days of fasting that all my energy came back. I also spent a great deal of that time deeply breathing slowly through my nose. If you are healthy enough to do a fast and have the determination to do one, it is truly an incredible opportunity to commune with your essence. It allows us to get in touch with the core of our physical essence, where the body becomes unmasked by the distraction of digestion and clouding toxic overload. Fasting is truly a sensory journey of mysterious and subtle self-discovery, and there is a light of well-being at the end of the tunnel when you come to the end of your fast. If we consider looking into a form of fasting, whether it is just from 4 a.m. to 12 noon, a 12-hour, 24, 48-hour, 1 day, 3 day, or more day fast, it is an effective way to clear the reservoir of toxic accumulation we have, especially if we've lived for many years. This will not only help our health, it will then allow us to reintroduce food that is more suited to the body's ideal pH balance. As always, we ease in and out of a fast with what we eat and drink the days before and after the fast. I suggest researching the details of a fast on your own if it sounds right to you, as it has the potential of quickly making you feel better and also can help you appreciate the subtleties of a gentler dietary fare when we return to eating. To help encourage you in this direction, the videos of Ray Mayor, that's R-A-Y-M-A-O-R, on YouTube can really expand your awareness on the benefits of fasting and also on the myths of our concept of nutrition. Again, research, study, and get adequate guidance when choosing which course to take. Years ago, I was introduced to the work of the Japanese educator Michio Kushi, who introduced the macrobiotic diet to the West. He basically showed how the 7.4 pH blood level related to the idea of yin and yang. He proposed that the yin principle of expansion and the yang principle of contraction could be applied to the understanding of the ideal blood chemistry in the body. He said the body thrives and self-heals when we cater to how it is balanced by nature, which is a 7 parts yin to 1 part yang. He categorized grains and vegetables as yin and beans as yang. Items such as meat, dairy, sugar, drugs, alcohol, chemicals, all fell into extremely higher levels of yin or yang, lying outside this perfect body balance, which promoted the body's ability to self-heal. So how this showed up on the plate was mostly grains and vegetables, and then a small amount of beans. While this is austere and restricting, it puts across the general idea of how to think about what the body thrives on. I found that in the macrobiotic diet, the comfort foods such as miso, I use chickpea paste, chickpea miso or white miso for soups and flavorings, as well as tahini, which is sesame butter, like it's almost like almond butter, which are both proteins and yang, making everything taste truly amazing. Anything we focus on, our attention, can grow and reveals inherent variety. And so it is with a seemingly restrictive diet. Like a telephone number with only 10 digits to choose from, there are a vast variety of phone numbers possible. I learned most of my health food inventions from having been on the macrobiotic diet for many years. In comparison to that diet, an alkaline, plant-heavy diet is truly satisfying and easy to stick to. So I think it's better to start with something extremely restrictive and then come into an easier form with more variety afterwards. A simple way to look at it is to focus on 75% of what you eat each day being either fruit or vegetable. This means 25% can be a mixture of other ingredients that may be more acidic and more to your liking. While salads are a no-brainer, hot meals can be grains, beans, cooked vegetables, and alkaline-based proteins. You can eventually move to more healthful forms of acid-causing food as time progresses, which could look like replacing the choice of chicken instead with garbanzo beans. But augmenting alkaline with acid can look different for different types of tastes and blood types. Realize that you don't need to eat meat, cheese, and dairy products to survive. There are grains like quinoa, vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, avocados, asparagus, escarole, peas, beans like lentils, seeds like pumpkin and sunflower, and sesame butter, nuts like almonds and almond butter, to name just a few that have flavors that can make vegetables hearty and substantially satisfying while providing the daily protein you need. Note that these examples are alkaline choices of protein, but there are many wider choices of beans, grains, and nuts that can satisfy your 25% acid-based food requirements to achieve the 7.4 pH. So here are some quick tips to keep in mind and health practices to try out if you've not heard of them before. You can get alkalinity strips at the pharmacy to see where your body pH level is. Again, 7.4 pH is ideal. Consider the value of fasting from 8 p.m. till 12 p.m. when the body naturally detoxes during the night, and eating from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. whenever possible. Consider blessing all food and drink with love, peace, purity, and gratitude before ingesting anything, especially when you're out of your house, like at a restaurant. Also, blessing the water you bathe in, as our intentions are energetically effective. The writings of Dr. Emoto will convince you of this if you are not convinced of the value of intention and health. Learning to make high alkaline drinks in the morning instead of coffee with ginger, lime, lemon, and other vital ingredients such as cinnamon, cayenne, pepper, turmeric, etc. Boiling fresh ginger as a base creates a virtual kick that can be more satisfying than tea and can help treat many symptoms of illness. I found this magic substitute that allowed me to quit coffee. So in the morning, I make a drink of boiling fresh ginger and then adding turmeric to it. Some cinnamon and cayenne pepper helps the turmeric be absorbed in the body. And the lime or lemon gives you the vitamin C. And altogether, it's such a potent drink that it sort of knocks you off your socks and really is a great substitute for that kick you get from coffee. Also, is the idea of having miso soup in the morning, because at night the yin principle of expansion takes hold and your whole consciousness lifts out of the body and expands. And when you want to wake up in the morning, you want to bring all your body, the yang principle of contraction allows you to come back into your body. So when you have something salty like miso in soup broth in the morning, it wakes you up just like a cup of coffee. So you can make miso. I buy a product called Miso Masters Organic Miso, and it comes as a paste sold in a tub like hummus, found in the refrigerator section of the health food store. And in this, it causes you to awaken and feel clear immediately in the morning. Just add a wedge section of miso paste to the small amount of water and pulverize it with a fork to make a thick broth. Then add it to the main soup, allowing it not to boil, as that kills the enzymes in the miso. The broth should not taste too salty. And I use chickpea miso because soy is a little stern flavor, and the chickpea miso and the white miso are also very nice. They're almost as light as the chicken broth, you might say. And you could even make the soup without any vegetables or anything. Just make it as a cup of hot broth in the morning, and it's like coffee. You can steam all your vegetables lightly when you purchase them, storing them in glass containers in the fridge, which keeps them from wilting, and then assembling a meal can take just a few minutes. You can get home from work, open up the different containers, and cook the vegetables a little bit more with grains or whatever. And so you can make grains the same way, storing them after you've cooked them in the fridge and then assembling a meal in minutes. Drizzling tahini or miso, cayenne pepper, or citrus over a plate of grains, vegetables, and beans becomes a hearty and satisfying meal. Salads made with either raw leafy greens, even parsley or cilantro, or steamed and cooled like vegetables such as broccoli and green beans, Brussels sprouts, and asparagus, can be embellished with quinoa, pan-roasted pumpkin seeds, and dressed with olive oil and apple cider vinegar. And that could make a great meal with plenty of protein and nutrients in just a matter of minutes. Sea vegetables or seaweed, such as kombu and wakame and nori, small fish like anchovies, sardines, smelts, and are all high in minerals and protein. Small amounts of anchovies actually added to caramelized onions and red peppers can make a great tapenade without any fish flavor. A small amount of anchovies added to olive oil when cooking can deepen the flavor of any vegetable dish without a trace of fish flavor. Look up the highest alkaline vegetables and fruits on the internet and stock your house with them, with those items. Another tip is always choose a good source of water to cook with and drink. I choose non-fluoride spring water or other filtered water that removes fluoride, as that calcifies the pineal gland, the seat of our intuition. If you are okay with eating butter, you can steam many vegetables in a small amount of spring water, and then at the end add a pat of organic butter to the water with sea salt. This can make a great meal. Even cutting up a cabbage in quarters with salt and pepper and steaming it in butter is heavenly. If you choose to have some pasta, I suggest finding pasta that is actually made in Italy, because the wheat they have there is not genetically modified, and it is way easier on the digestion. Anything we are addicted to, such as sugar, coffee, wheat, carbs, will stop their influence on us after around 4 days of abstaining from them. A fast can do this, or removing these items one at a time will allow us to prepare for future clean living. Instead of deodorants, I use a dusting of baking soda, which is extremely effective in stopping odor and sweat. I use a heaping tablespoon under the arms in a shower, let it sit, and then rinse. Then just a small amount under the arms as a deodorant to last all day. Dr. Bronner's Castile soap is the least harmful soap to use on your body, as it is important to not inundate your pores and glands with chemical additives. Dr. Bronner's has been around since the 70s, and it comes in a bottle, and it's in liquid form, and it's very concentrated, and it's well worth the money. There is much wisdom in the Indian philosophy of Ayurvedic. It's Ayurvedic medicine and dietary practices, using many flavors to help the body heal itself. The use of spices like cinnamon, turmeric, coriander, cayenne pepper, ginger, clove, caraway seeds, etc. all have great healing properties to help us with digestion, inflammation, and a myriad of other issues. I find a great secret to dental health is oil pulling with coconut every morning. There is a specific way to practice this, which involves swishing a small amount of coconut oil in your mouth for 20 minutes each morning. So please check out the instructions on any YouTube video on oil pulling, as there are details to follow, but it results in whitening your teeth and keeping your gums in amazingly good shape. It also draws toxins out of the bloodstream into your tongue, so you have to be sure to brush your tongue afterwards and to not spit the coconut oil into any plumbing, because when it gets cold it hardens up, so you can use a garbage can instead. Whatever method you choose, it is always best to meditate on what feels right or makes sense with you. By tuning into our bodies through meditation or internal awareness, we can attune to what our bodies tell us about what it needs. There is a difference and a way to tell between a craving and an addiction. With an addiction, you feel as though you just have to have that food, whereas when your body is telling you what it needs, there's more subtlety, more of a subtlety of knowing. I have only brought to light in this discussion approaches to health which have worked with me in attaining optimal health and weight. Be aware, however, that we are taking our bodies with us as we ascend, and that requires us to work on mind, body, and spirit equally. The body requires proper nourishment, rest, exercise, and interfacing with nature. As we navigate the higher realms, we must attune to a harmonious balance in each area to raise our station and integrate to 5D frequencies. As we become more and more conscious of what our body requires for its ascension, our assimilation will be smoother, our ascension symptoms reduced, and our spiritual awareness will sharpen. Coming into focus from a base of harmony and self-care will give us the foundation for extending and expanding our service and stamina in the coming months ahead as we approach the coming transformation of our collective reality. So I know that was a lot, but I suggest that you check out the actual transcript on my website, soulselfawareness.com, which I'll have listed in the description box below. And you go under the blog section and pull it up. It'll be the first blog, and you can study all the tips and see what names they are. And it is a wealth of information that if you really go over, it will help you to understand how to move forward in eating more healthfully. I have done these types of practices for years and find that they truly help me to stay clear and clean and full of life and energy, and without the aches and pains of older age. So I would love to hear your comments below, also your questions or suggestions that I might do another video on. And I would love if you can go to my Lori Polina YouTube channel and subscribe, and also hit the notification bell for the next videos that I produce. And I would love to talk more on this subject, and if people are wanting that, just put that down into the body of your response underneath here. So have a great holiday season, happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you when I return.